Hello world, it's me, JTechCreeper, and I'm trying a little something new. It has been a while since I made a video, and now that I have some time at least to sit down and try to make one, so forgive me for being a little rusty because it has been a while since I made one. And when did I last upload? 1 second, let me just do a double check,
Oh no! Anyway,
Today we're going to be taking a look at the QMAN Trans Collector 6-in-1 Meteor Mars, a group of 6 individual vehicles with robot modes that can also combine into the aforementioned Meteor Mars. Now I know what you're thinking.
So Hexy, what makes this set more any different than any other brick-based set that offers either a vehicle or robot or both configurations?
Well, anonymous voice in the void, listen to this. This set requires no parts forming. And when I say parts forming, I don't mean that it doesn't have any parts forming because you break it down and then you build it up back up again. No. You can transform these guys from different modes and combine them without breaking them down and then combining them up again. Like an actual transforming figure. As far as I know, not a lot of companies have tackled this kind of play pattern before. And well, aside from Lego and their collaborations with like Transformers, let alone using original designs. Now with that out of the way, let's take a look at the QMAN. Wait, what? Okay, so I think you noticed that the QMAN logo is replaced instead with the Miniso logo. And it's weird. Turns out white labels don't necessarily apply to just groceries, they also apply to other products as well. I guess they had a deal with Miniso to sell under their banner and maybe like drive some sales. I don't know. It's just weird. But it's extra weird given the fact that all 6 members are the only QMAN products that are in the branch, in my hometown at least. Like, there are no other QMAN products there in the Miniso that I went to get all 6 of these guys. It's just weird. Now with the exposition in position, let's start on with the review. Let's start with, you know what? Let's just go in order. With number 1, Flame Swordsman, or as I like to call him, the Bull. Because he has horns. And he also forms the cross. Now, as far as I know, these designs are original and have no lore behind them, so screw it. I am giving them some. By looking at the design, and especially the motif, he looks like he could be the muscle of the team, given he has his big shoulders, and again, with the horns and everything, he looks like a big bull. So, I can assign him to being like the tank of the team, and it really makes sense, especially with this color scheme. Like, he's almost all red. It kind of reminds me of like Tantrum from the Predacons from G1. I like how, and this applies to all the members, parts are evenly and intentionally distributed. Back cable in this case, it doesn't really matter. In this set, with all the other members, it doesn't really matter in terms of accuracy because, again, as far as I know, these are original designs. Despite Flame Swordsman being somewhat top and back heavy, and scrawny in other areas, he can stand soundly stable. Even if you give it a little shake test, it doesn't really topple as easy. And that is because due to his big feet and also these very sturdy ball joints. It requires me a little bit of movement. It's not really loose or anything, and it can really help him stand, and even if we give it a little shake test, no floppy parts whatsoever, which is a godsend, especially when it's a brick set, because you don't want any floppy parts on any joints, because one wrong move and it topples down and then boom, you have to build it up back up again. Now he does come with a weapon, and that is this big sword. This big ass sword, which not only fits him, but is also technically the weapon of the combined form, which explains why it's so big. So possibility between all these guys is uniform, mostly for the arms and then the hips. So let's start, shall we? So the head is on a clip. There's no rotation. He can look up that far and down not that much. Arms can rotate a full 360. Shoulder pads can move. Since this is also essential to the combined mode, they are ratcheted, so you can just use that for possibility. Like they're somewhat a soft ratchet. You can really stretch it up that far. I mean, I guess you could count that as like a rotation or something, but that's just moving a piece. I mean, you can technically, but there's no dedicated, like it's a proper rotation. That applies to everybody because most of their faces are just like a stud or a tile on top of a brick. That's it. Bicep, you have a very like tight ball joint. Now keep in mind, I had these guys for a while now, and until today, their ball joints are still as tight as when I first got them. So it is very, very nice quality. As I was saying, like here you go the elbow, like it's all a ball joint, so you can just move it all around. Here in the elbow, you can go like over 90, and you can just substitute that as like a wrist rotation because there's nothing here at the wrist, nothing at the waist. There's nothing at the waist because of course it has to be solid for it to combine, you know. And also I don't think they could like find a way to make the waist work. Hips can go in, they can go like up that far, they can go like back that far. You have a beautiful spread. You have the dongle, or you have the knee, which can bend almost all the way, like without anything like going in the way. Yeah, there you go. You can bend that all the way. And then you have nothing else at the feet except for a weird like shin pivot, I guess, which can go like a lot of the way because it's just a hinge. Despite him like being back, oh, I forgot the back. The back is very like it's held onto place. The ball joints are as strong as these ones, so don't expect. So you're not gonna get any floppiness. You can flare these up around to make it look like some sort of cape or something. What I like to do is just flare them up a little bit like that. They make it look like wings for some reason. So instead of a bull, he looks like a stag beetle a bit. Posability on this guy is not bad. For a tanky build, he's posable to an extent. I mean, these guys are made out of bricks, so don't expect any like figure art level articulation. Also to reiterate, these guys can transform without breaking them down and then building them back up again. So, without delay, let me give you a taste of this brilliance, like this engineering masterpiece. And here we have what looks like to be a futuristic turbojet. I like how the shoulders are repurposed to be the thrusters, making use of the bulk of which will eventually become the combined form's thigh joints. A little sad that, you know, despite the engineering, there's no storage to put the sword in. I guess you could just put it like in the back or something, but okay, that's kind of cool, like a jet coming in with holding a sword like that. But no, there's no like designated spot for it to be put. Most of these guys are just laying down, so underside, not that bad. And then again, these are like supposed to be futuristic or like original design, so you can't really like falter these guys to be, oh, it's not accurate to real jet, because since when have you seen a jet that looks like this? Nothing else much to say. This is a cool vehicle mode and I like it. Passes the swoosh test, very like shake proof and everything. Kind of disappointing that the head's just there, but I guess you can just fold it down if you want, but then to fill out this out. But I'm following the official instructions, so you know. Moving on to number 2, we have Torrent Protector, whom I can imagine being the leader of the team because he forms the upper torso of Meteor Mars. I like how the gable management resembles like an armor, like you can see here on the shoulders. They look like big shoulder pads, and then this looks somewhat like a cloak maybe, or like extra armor pieces, like, and then you can just rearrange that to be like, I don't know, flared up armor. I guess we can like make it like that, I guess, and then make it like big shoulder pads and whatnot. Up to you, basically. I prefer it to be like here, like these, to be like on the side and everything, just to like keep it somewhat simple, you know. Now I know that you can notice something a little bit protruding here on the back. That is just more than the vehicle mode's like turret. It is also the combined forms head. Also, I love the fact that with the use of clear bricks here, it can simulate light piping, and it really it captures like a lot of light a little bit. And if you hold it like directly under it, you can actually see it properly. We're not gonna talk about that yet because we're still here in Torrent Protector's solo portion. He also comes with big swords that I have him holding here, which not only serve as just his weapons, they also have a functionality and weapon storage in the vehicle mode, and also it adds extra armaments for the combined form. You can't have just swords and of course not be posable, so let's just get rid of the swords for a bit. So to start with, he does have head rotation. It's a bit limited because of it bumps into like these things here. It bumps around, but you can just move that a bit forward and then just turn, and then there you go, you have like head rotation. But due to like the way that this guy is like structured and how it transforms, he does look like he's a bit hunched over. It doesn't help with the back kibble and everything, but I think that's fine. Also the fact that the head is sitting at an angle, you can't really like make it sit flush, so it just looks like he's like hunched over. That's fine with me. I feel like that adds a bit more character to him, like making like it makes him look like he's an old weary veteran of war. Shoulders can like somewhat rotate. You just have to move out of the way because it bumps here. It does rotate. Again, same with Flame Swordsman. You have to be careful, especially when you in case that you break the sculpt. This is also ratcheted, because these form the arm joint, so of course it's ratcheted. Let me move that out of the way. Same story here. Ball joints at the like bicep, ball joint here at the elbow simulate as if it's a wrist rotation, because there is none here. Again, nothing at the waist. Legs can go forward that far, can go back that far. He has a beautiful spread. He also has a dongle. He has a knee, a ball jointed knee that only goes up for a bit that far, which is kind of a shame because with Flame Swordsman, his can go all the way, but that's fine. And of course, it's a ball joint. It can also go forward, but I don't think you can really use that. Of course, as ball joint, it can be a swivel. Here at the feet, it's a ball joint also. Very sturdy, all of these. It can move, it can swivel, and then for a pivot, that's as much pivot as you can get. With the back wings, I guess, they are on a swivel, so you can just move that around, and they can hinge up and down like here, and then also swivel connected here at the piece. You can move this out, but that's part of the transformation, and that's also a swivel right there. It's somewhat posable despite it being like a chunky guy. So it is very similar to Flame Swordsman, as they do have the same shoulder structure. With the only major difference is how the legs work. With Flame Swordsman, his has a shin pivot. I don't know what else to call it, so I'm just gonna call it a shin pivot. Let's move on to the vehicle mode, shall we? And here we have Torrent Protector in his futuristic hovercraft mode. I forgot to flip these up earlier in the time lapse. Sorry. Judging by his name, I think this is what it is, or it's some kind of a like low altitude hovercraft, because there's nothing like really like speaking to me like, yeah, this flies. I guess you could just say it like it's a spacecraft, but his name is Torrent Protector, so I guess it relates to something like near bodies of water, I guess. I mean, it could make it seem like these like brush along the sides of like the waves or something. It's also kind of funny because it's how aggressive it is, because there's a big turret here that does have rotation, but it's just, you know, the combined head disguising as a turret. But at least they found another purpose instead of just like in the other combiners that QMAN does. A lot of them is just like parts you set up to the side. They're just be like a big crotch piece or a big head piece. It just sits on the side while the individual vehicle moves are out. So I like that they tried at least something to like make the head have a different purpose aside from like, you know, the combined form. So anyway, this is a cool vehicle mode. I got nothing else much to say. Next, we have number 3, Storm Rider, who I assigned as technician to the team because, you know, his alt mode is like a motorcycle, so I think it fits him perfectly. Also, his design is probably the one that I like the least, just specifically just the robot mode, because look at him. I think it's the head, because look right here. Head looks too small. From afar, it doesn't look as small because the joint helps with the silhouette and everything. But if you just look it up like that, yeah, the head is tiny as hell. There is a reason for this clearance, because there's a step here where it has to go underneath something for the transformation. I get that, and I think that they want to contain everything. You don't need like a lot of parts forming. That's fine with me. I don't really... It doesn't mean that his design is bad. It's just that compared to the rest of the team, he has the weakest design. That's fine. That's just my opinion. I also like the fact that how like compact everything is. Oh, before I forget, he also has these. These tendril like things are, I guess, armaments, as you say. Like, put in the lore that he uses these as like weapons. So in case he loses his main weapons, he has these ones. You know, despite being a motorcycle, he does follow like how Transformers does their motorcycles. Like the front wheel would be just one piece and it'd be at the front, and then the back wheel would be split into two, and then it would go to the legs. It works, you know. Speaking of weapons, he does come with copies of this, which he can use as like, you know, daggers, I guess. Just clip on, and then you can just make it look like it's daggers and everything. Like, with daggers, you can assume that he's like also reconnaissance, so he needs to have the posing to back it up. So let's go with our posability segment. The head, nothing except looking down, but that is also for the transformation. I guess there's no looking left and right. That's fine. The arms, well, I have to move this out of the way. The arms can move like that. They move 360. These again, they are like on a clip, so they can just move front and back. These are on a ball joint also, so there's no wrist, so you can just use the ball joint at the elbow to simulate the wrist rotation. This is my main, like, this is one of the things that I don't like also about this figure aside from the design. This ball joint is connected to this piece, and then this piece moves like with the back. If you're not careful when you're just willy-nilly moving it around, you move the back also, and that can get a little bit annoying. And I'm not that particularly like pissed off about that, but just a word of caution if you're gonna get these guys. Be mindful of the back. Nothing at the waist. Hips again is like same with the others. Like they can go in and out. They can go that far. Oops. You know, they're very sturdy, but when enough force, you can actually just rip them out. He's got a beautiful spread. He also has a dongle, but that doesn't point up. That goes. Nothing at the thigh. Like it's fine. Like you don't need like hyperdynamic articulation with these guys. It also has ball jointed knees that can go like a little like 80, I guess. These can move out of the way, but they're not that really big of like help. And he has a weird one, and this goes for the next guy as well. No ankle tilt, but he does have a heel. He has a toe, heel, and this thing, which I think helps with like ankle tilts, because he stands very solidly. And if you want him to go in like a dynamic pose, he does stand really nice. I guess that this also, like, this thing helps. Overall, posability is fine. He's pretty decent. All is missing is just like proper ankles, but even then, these two actually can like support really nicely. Otherwise, he's not too bad for like standard like action poses with the big bulky feet. You can like probably try and do a high kick or something. He's not that bad. So moving on, let's go to the transformation. And here we have the Cyber Cycle mode. Now, I like how the extra arms, I guess, in the robot mode end up as like mandibles to like, and you can still move them like that. You can angle them any way you want, so that it looks like a big maw and like the vehicle. Especially with the red piece as like the windshield, it looks more somewhat alien. I like that. I also like how there's like some room or resemblance of a seat. So if you want, I guess you can try like having the other members like ride him.
Hey yo, what the fuck?
Don't take that out of context. I think he's decent enough. He rolls somewhat well. Some parts bump into, like especially here, example here, the wheel. It bumps here. So when you're trying to roll, it may like just drop, and then it would feature like a bit problem with like traction. The back wheels don't have much problem. It's the front that has like problems with that. But very nice, like compact vehicle. And now before I continue on, I know that there's gonna be like someone who's gonna complain like, oh my god, a lot of these figures have gold plastic. I know about the GPS. This doesn't have it. I think I had these guys for almost a year now. As far as I remember, there's no like, I haven't seen like any cracks or whatnot, like any warpings or anything. Rest assured, they're still fine. Although I might jinx it by the time that I make an update like on this, but so far I don't see any signs of breakages, so we can just chill out. The vehicle mode overall is fine. Like, it's not the most like convincing, I guess, motorcycle, because it looks too elongated, but it's fine. It's fine by me. Next we have number 4, Creeping Ninja, who is my absolute favorite of this set, and actually the one that got me to make me get the set. One day, while we're looking around Miniso, JTechCreeper found this along with the rest of the set and started contemplating on getting either one or all of them. Taste test somewhat. In the end, I got this guy just to, test the waters. And little did he know that would push him over the edge. That would lead to his absolute downfall. I had him. I love him. It made me get the other set. He made this figure alone made me want to get the rest of the set so that I could see Meteor Mars in all his glory. Premise like really got to me. Now, do I have less money than if I didn't buy the set? Yes. Did I regret buying the set regardless? Well, you're watching this video right now, aren't you? This robot mode seems to be the most Transformers-esque, I guess, due to how concise and contained it is. No back kibble. Like, you see that? A jet former with no back kibble. And you have to build this one too. It's either like here with the kibble, it's just, you can see that the wings here, and then the cockpit when the back legs are here. Mostly they're in like the sides or in the front. Like everybody else, most of these guys transform is just laying down. I don't mind simple transformations as long as they're like engaging. And I also like the distribution. Not too much, not too little. Sounds like my brain throwing a last-ditch Hail Mary during an exam period.
What?
Let's move on to the posability segment. Nothing at the head except you can look up that far, which is good for a jet former, and you can look down. Not at all. There is a trick to this, since his head is on like a stud. What I do with him for posability, I move his head a little bit. Since it's on a stud, you can just say like this is a swivel, basically, and you can make it position like anywhere you want him to look. Arms are, well, let's close this a bit. Arms can go full 360, but again, you have to be careful because you can break the sculpt with this one, especially like in this case, like the wings here. Also, they're on like clips, so you can just move them out of the way. The wings can also move out of the way, like here on this joint. It's on this joint and it's also on this joint. So you can just move this out of the way if you want for the arm to rotate all around. This one is a bit loose. This is not due to the ball joint because the ball joint itself is very sturdy. It's connected to the peg itself. Like if I get rid of this, it's this part is a bit loose, but I can fix that later. Ball joint at the elbow. No wrist, so you can just use that to simulate wrist rotation. Nothing at the waist again. Legs go forward. That far, you can go higher because there's nothing really blocking everything else here. And it can go back that far. You can actually go back like a lot. It has a beautiful spread, and his dongle goes down like Storm Rider. No thigh swivel. I mean, I guess you can simulate that as a thigh swivel, but ball joint at the knee, so you can just make it a knee swivel, I guess. You can bend it, like, not a lot. Same with Storm Rider. It's a weird, like, thing here. He has big supports here in the heel. He has, like, toes in front. This, I guess, helps with stability and whatnot. He's very posable. Similar to Storm Rider, he just lacks, like, proper ankles, but everything else, he's fairly solid. Well, as they should, since both Storm Rider and Creeping Ninja form the arms of Meteor Mars. We'll have to save that for the finale. So let's continue down the line with this guy's jet mode. And here we have a very nicely designed futuristic jet mode that actually looks cohesive. Also, the fact that he's basically just laying down prevents any major underside kibble, as a lot of robots with jet modes do, like you can see here. It's very clean. Well, being a brick set is a benefit in this scenario, as the engineering isn't as claustrophobic as it usually does. You know, sometimes when you're confined to this specific, like, vehicle or this design, you have to be like, you have to go around the things, you have to like make sure that everything fits in. When in a brick-based set, you just have to make sure that everything looks like good. Like, it doesn't matter if it's 1-to-1, as long as it's fun and it looks good, it's fine. This one is my favorite to transform also. It's very simple, it's very easy, and the result is actually a very nice jet. All in all, this one is great, and still is my favorite of the set. Next, we have number 5, the Left Guardian Shadow Hunter, or as I just like to call him, Shadow Hunter for short, because you don't need to specify which side of a Guardian he is. Now, short disclaimer, this applies to both him and the last guy that we're going to be taking a look at. They're the only ones with chunky parts-forming backs. As you can see, like these big cockpits here, these do not transform like with hinges and whatnot. You have to take them off and then you have to put it back on again. This is parts forming. But not only do these turn into like cockpits for the vehicle modes, but they also form the combiner's feet. So it makes sense that these are separate pieces, because if they try to implement them into like one, it may like wear down on the joint and may be like detrimental to like the combiner's structural stability. It is for the combiner, so it's fine. I'm not bothered by it. I do like this head more than Storm Rider, like with the fact that it's a like different orientation and it has something else. It's still small, but it fits the body type. Unlike with Storm Rider, where the body's a bit like chunky, his like small head actually fits in with this because it looks slim enough that it actually fits with the sculpt. The backpack itself like isn't, you know, like bad, but it is removable. So if you want, you can just take it off. It's just like stud right there, and then you can have like a very like nice robot. I also like the kibble in this one. It doesn't really bother me that much, and you can just like, if you don't want to display this guy with the backpack, you just set it off to the side. I don't mind the backpack, so I'm just gonna put that back on. It's very stable. Again, a lot of these, like every one of these guys have very like big feet, so it's very stable for them. So with like a shake test and everything, they're not very easily to tumble over unless there's like an earthquake or something. Posability is not that bad either. To start with, nothing at the head. Again, he can look down. Arms can not go, I guess, in 360 because of the backpack, but then again, you can just take that off and then you have 360. That will break the sculpt, of course. Shoulders can move up a little bit, but it gets blocked because of the arm kibble. Elbows, again, ball joints, and no wrist, nothing at the wrist, but you can just like move them around and be like simulate wrist rotation. It also comes with like these tiny swords. I forgot to mention, with Creeping Ninja, these swords on his fists are just his weapons. He doesn't come with anything else. These are also like weapon storage for if you just want him to like Wolverine claws. Nothing at the waist. Of course, I suspected. Legs can go forward. Legs can go back that far, but if you take away the backpack, he can move all the way. Legs can go out. He has a beautiful spread. His doingle can go up. Ah!
Yeah, boy.
No thigh swivel. For his knee, it's not a ball joint. It's a hinge for some reason. For now, it's sturdy, but I can feel like over time it can get loose, and I can just fix that up really like easily. And his feet are on ball joints. These are separate and they're small, so you can just have like a crazy pivot. Posability is fine. He's not that bad. Despite the, arm kibble, like hanging off, like his arms right there. Pretty posable, and it helps that the feet are stable enough to support himself. Let's move on to his vehicle mode. Let's turn him into a futuristic off-road buggy. And here we have Shadow Hunter in his vehicle mode. This is my favorite vehicle mode, like besides Creeping Ninja. I like how like the feet become like hot rod exhaust pipes, like in the buggy mode, making good use of like existing parts. The cockpit, like the way it transforms, I could see why they couldn't like do, hinge joint and whatnot, but that's fine. It looks really like nice. Like I really like how this turned out. It looks like a big Mario Kart. Looking at it now, it looks less like a buggy, an off-road buggy. It looks more like a kart from Mario Kart. Like you can imagine someone like sitting here. It's kind of cute. It's kind of dinky. Rolls really nicely too. A lot of traction underneath. There's not a lot of kibble underneath. So I really like this vehicle mode for him. Last on the chopping block, we have number 6, Right Guardian Moon Raider, or just Moon Raider. Same thing with Shadow Hunter. He also has a parts forming backpack to accommodate for the vehicle and combined mode, and then that's fine with him. Like again, you can just take this off, and he actually looks really good without the backpack even. So if I want to display him by like not combined, I might just take off the backpack and just leave it off to the side for the sake of like uniformity. I'm gonna put it back on. He comes with a sword, which is just like this big sword, which I like. But strangely enough, a lot of brick brands basically comes with an extra one. I guess thanks, because in case like this one breaks, especially because it's in gold plastic, including another one also in gold plastic. But again, to reiterate, so far with my experience with these toys, like there's no sign of breakages. I can just pose them around, especially here with a lot of gold plastic parts. There's no breakages that I've seen. There's no cracks that I've seen. Take it with a grain of salt. It might be lucky for me, might not be lucky for you. Don't take everything that I say as like gospel. So, practice caution and whatnot. Or in any other toy, basically, extra parts are appreciated, especially like in times of sudden breakages. Or his hands are different. Like instead of clips, he has like, I call these like the headlight parts, because most of the builds that I've seen with them use them for like headlights and whatnot, and he does look cool dual wielding them. Same with like Torrent Protector, where he has 2 swords wielding. He looks cool with them. This is weird. Head rotation, again, he has head rotation similar to like Torrent Protector. Like here at the base, you can move it around and then you can just move it like that. It doesn't go all the way, so it looks like he's hunched over, but there's something to accommodate for that. He has a hinge here, so you can just make it look like he's looking straight, because I guess this is the mouth plate, this is the like visor. The way it looks like a big mouth, so I can just make it like I can make it look like a big mouth. He can open his mouth that far, I guess. And since this is on like a clip peg, you can also like move that, and you can also move like the head. So if you want, you can just make an abomination where it just comes closer and look at you like a big giraffe or something. The arms, they can't, well, this part can also go around without the backpack. And another ball joint here for the actual arm. and then ball joint for the elbow. The weird part of this is the only one in the set that has like gorilla arms, because yeah, the fists are supposed to be facing this way, but the ball joint it goes in and out, so it doesn't, so you can't actually get like a proper elbow. So you can somewhat do it like that, I guess. But if you want it to be like a deep elbow bend, you can, but it looks like his fist is like that. I mean, you could simulate like that, but if you want him to hold like a sword like properly, like you want him to hold the sword like with his elbow bent, that's the best that you can get. Hinge joint clip on this, like, I guess sled, which sometimes when I do mess around with this guy, I I include this as like the fingers of a fist, you know. It looks like he has big hands. Nothing at the waist. You know, same story with the legs. They can go out that far, and back. Without the backpack, they can go all the way. It has a beautiful spread. His tiny little dongle can go up, and ball joints at the knee. He can go 90, a few decimal points above 90, and ball joint at the ankle, which can also be a good ankle pivot. Damn. Yeah, for a sword wielder, he's very posable. Again, with these guys, so far, with my experience with them, all the joints have been very solid. Like, all the ball joints, there's no looseness in the ball joints. Like, their weight is very supported. There's no, like, tumbling down due to, like, weak joints. They're all, like, very solid. Really good range, especially for, like, specific poses, except the elbows. That's the one thing that's kind of a bummer to me. Like, the elbows is kind of like, But everything else, he's very, like, good posable. Let's get into transforming him into his vehicle mode, which is... I'm still not sure what it is. And here we have Moon Raider in his spacecraft mode. Well, basing on the name that his name is Moon Raider, so I guess that's what this is. This would be like landing gear. At first, when I first got this guy, I thought that he was like some sort of like jet ski or something because of the skis underneath. But I guess you can associate with him being a spacecraft because with the wings, I guess, and the guns like on the legs, like the legs being the wings and the guns, make it somewhat convincing. Also, he has weapon storage, but only for the sword that he does come with. You just put it there and then done. It's not that big of a deal. But the extra sword, it's an extra part, so you can just put it out over to the side. There's not much else to say. I mean, I like it. It's weird, and I like it. There's not much else to say, so you know what? Let's just move on. They look great together as a team. They fit with their unifying color schemes, and they somewhat scale with each other. Again, I'm gonna treat this as like out of scale. They're just like futuristic vehicles, so it doesn't matter if, like, there's a big ass motorcycle here, but let's just say that maybe it's just a two-wheeled truck, I guess, with a big cockpit in the front. I know that you noticed that with the vehicle modes and with the transformation, a lot of them don't have any locking points. They mostly rely on the friction joints with the ball joints, but fortunately, on my copy, the joints are solid enough and do maintain their form. But, you know, if you do want to get one of these, any of these guys, your mileage may vary. But lucky for me, like with my experience with these guys, they have been solid. So now we have reached the finale of this review, so let's not waste any more time. Meteor! Gatay! here we have the combined for Meteor Mars, or as I like to call him, Sentai Shogun. The combiner itself resembles a shogun in his armor, ready for battle. That really warrants him the name change. This is what made me want to complete the set. How many combining samurai mech teams do you know? Huh? Huh? Name one. This is something I just found in the wild, and it lured me in like a moth to a flame. Big points because all the individual member weapons have special spots for storage. For example, we bring in back like the sword for, oh my god, I've already forgot about him. Moon Raider. One of Moon Raider's swords, and then the extra that it comes with, you can actually clip that on. There are spots here that if you want, you can like put that on there. And it's somewhat like fills in like the same way with the wings of Creeping Ninja. Like it actually like somewhat finishes the symmetry. Well, the only problem with the storage is the sword. If you don't want him holding it, there's no other spot except like, I don't know, just put it to the side. One thing that I found was like putting like somewhere on the back. Like maybe you could do something like that. I mean, it does, but it's just free floating. So if you don't want it, you can just put them here. To make him hold the sword, you actually have to like put it in the hands. Now, this one thing that is kind of like, it surprised me the first time, is I was like, there were no other parts. How the hell is he gonna get hands? These are his hands. The tailpipes for the motorcycle mode and like the weird ankle thing that he had, those are actual fingers. Those are supposed to be like fingers, and then all you have to do is just push it there. This is a hole. There's a hole right through, and then you just have to put this in. Like so. And then you can just make him hold it like that. And how cool is that? That looks so good, like, ugh! And everybody knows, like, accessories are accentuated by the figure's posability. But with combiners, of course, it has limits because it has to be stable, it has to accompany, like, everybody else on the same, like, body. And the same can be said for this guy. This is a bit hard to film because he's big and he's out of frame. So the head they actually gain head rotation, like proper head rotation. Sometimes it does bump with things here at the back because of the turret, but you can manage it. Like you can move it. It can move up and down. It can move that far. It can move like really far down, like really nice. It's fitting that he can look really down so that when he looks. Also, before we continue, I want to reiterate. He has light piping. I don't know if it's intentional or not, but he does have light piping, and it can capture, like, you can make it capture the light really nicely. Arms are the joints right here. They move. Oh god, it's a bit difficult because this guy's big. It can move like 360, but it does bump into the head, so you just have to watch out for that. Elbows are a separate joint, although these are hinges, so don't expect like it can hold that well. Like I've had this guy in combined form for most of the time that I had this guy. Posed him with like holding the sword, so of course the arms are a bit loose. These can like maybe like a thumb or like extra thumbs, like movie Starscream where he has 2 thumbs. Same can be said for this arm. It's the same, like you can rotate it that far. When you rotate the joints on this, hold this. The arms of Torrent Protector act as like locking mechanism, so when you move this, it doesn't necessarily move everything. Nothing at the waist, which is, I understand why, it's for stability and it's fine by me. Hips can go not that much forward because of the things that they bump, but you can move that aside and you can accommodate for a little bit of a high, like somewhat of a kick. It's more like a kicking the can, basically. Back that far, but it does bump into like here. It's got a, I'm not gonna risk it. It does have a spread. Like it can't, like the legs can go out that far. It has knee swivels, and this is helpful for like posing. He has ratcheted knees that do go all the way, and the ankles are they have a swivel. They have swivels. I'm just gonna say they have swivels because it's the same connection point with this. It's the same as this, so you can swivel that, but it's hard to do with like holding something, especially in this weight. And it has an ratcheted ankle tilt. Despite his size, like the posability is it's not bad. You can pull up some poses, but of course the main crux of like any combiner is, you know, the mass and the size. There's not a lot of poses where you can get him in without any like extra support, especially like if it's heavily relying on like specific joints and whatnot. So best you can make him like pose is like doing an A stance, staring down, and even then, that's really like serviceable. I like combiner poses like that. I also like how, as I said in the posability segment, it has like dedicated joints, like specifically for the mode, for the combined mode. And I like that because it gets rid of the problem with like Combiner Wars era, where like yes, there's Scramble City, but they all had to rely with the robot itself's their posability and their articulation. You mix and match a lot of the robots, especially their hips, become loose because they're either the arm or the leg. The hips become the elbows, and that wears it down. And that doesn't mean that like it can't kill Scramble City. The combiners I have up there, the construction one and the like fire department one, they share the same system, like the same system as this guy, where it's like dedicated, like ratcheted joints. And these guys, you can swap them out, and those two go from vehicle to combiner directly. This guy has like a robot modes for the individual members. Despite his size, he's very sturdy. Like, here's a shake test, you know? He's not gonna tumble over. One thing that I kind of wish that they had was extra padding. Because when you look down, the feet don't actually have, like, those foam inserts or, like, anything, like, to go against. It's just plastic underneath. It can hold, but but sometimes it does like to, like, slowly split a little bit. It's not that really big of a deal. It can, like, still stand up straight, and it's fine by me. It's a group of 6 individual vehicles that have robot modes that also can combine. This is great. I love this set. I love these guys. This also like helped me get back into like brick building sets because I kind of fell out of it with like Legos, and then when Legos started to be really expensive, of course I resorted to like, you know, like knockoffs and bootlegs, and even then they're just like copies or reskins of existing Lego pieces. This like showed me like there is still some creativity, and then looking at other recent like things that other companies have been making. Now I believe this is a great set considering how much fun and play that I've gotten out of it for the price alone. But you know, opinions differ and you may feel different, and that's fine. When I first got these guys, they were each 250 pesos, or roughly almost $5 each member, because of how much fun and how much play that I got out of these guys. They were individually sold. There was no box set there when I first got these. The complete 6 were all there, and every time that I went back and forth in that Miniso, they were still there. Not a lot of people were buying them, and I was like, okay, since I don't usually go to the mall that much because, you know, school, and the mall is a bit farther from me, if I could, I will try to like, okay, if I can get one of the members. Somehow, like over the course of a week or 2 weeks, no one bought these. They were all available. The 6 members were all available. So I was like, well, no one's picking them up. Might as well just. It really tickled my shingles to the point that I actually got other combiners from the Trans Collector line, and more to follow. What have I got myself into? Now, recently I went back there and, you know, checked if they restocked. But no, they don't sell any QMAN products anymore over there. And I was like, okay, I guess I got them all now. And it's a good thing because when I did a little bit of research, you know, just to check if these are still available, they're not that much like common now. So if you want to track these guys down, don't expect like an abundance of them online. Just take caution and then happy shopping, I guess. This took so long to plan and make that it's like the stars aligned. You know, allowed me to give this one day, one chance to sit down Also, I've been going out more and more, participating, with other like social activities, just to get out of my comfort zone. Um, so expect another hibernation period, I guess, because this is just a one-man team. I film, I write scripts, I edit, I upload. Don't expect a weekly like even a monthly thing at the very least, because there will be periods where I am busy and there will be nothing on this channel like for a while. So savor this video as you can. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in probably 30 years, or God knows when, that I'll be able to sit down and do this again. He gave me this chance to do and time to do any video idea, and not just to make a review about toy bricks. Time is well spent, don't you think?